Okay, thank you so. Oh, everyone, remember to hit the got it. So, thank you so much for joining me on this glorious day with sun and temperatures um, really on our favor, on our favor. So, thank you again. Just as Karen mentioned, this is definitely not a sit and get. To be honest, you're going to want to be standing and have since it's just maybe you, or you might be with some fellow colleagues, maybe in your classroom. You don't need a ton of space right now for what we're going to do. But if you do the things with me, your body will create muscle memory. And when you look at my handout notes, it's going to make way more sense. So if, oh, she's going to be in her car. Okay, well, just do your best. If you're not driving, if you're in your car parked somewhere, maybe you could do the upper body stuff, but certainly do not do the upper body stuff if you have to maintain the steering wheel. There is always humor in Tai Chi. Okay, so I just want to tell you a little bit about what's on the handout. I'm going to stand right now because you did get a handout from Karen. So it'll take maybe 5 to 7 minutes. I just want to tell you what's on the handout and how our day will proceed. Well, our hour and a half. If some of you want to do this outside, it is certainly a beautiful day. And as long as your technology doesn't mind traveling with you, feel free. But on your handout, it gives a brief introduction of me. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tammy. Also, it's actually Tamara, but people call me Tammy. And I do want you to know that I am by day an early childhood educator, and I'm in my 43rd year. So I've been a teacher for a variety of ages, birth to running out of school time programs and doing preschool. What happened in many other roles, but what happened is my third year of teaching in, I knew that I have to get a side hustle. So way back, I'm for about 41 years in now, I became, for my evening job, a fitness instructor, and I'm yoga certified, and I'm also working on Tai Chi. So, and when I leave you at 5:30, I have to go teach 2 classes. So that's my night hustle. Right now, I'm currently coaching teachers in preschool for all, Head Start, early Head Start, teaching at the college level. So I'm more in the consultant phase of my life. But I'm still going to continue to keep that active movement and fitness world a part of my life. So that you'll see all that at the top of your handout. There is a way, there is an email by which you can get a hold of me at the top of your handout. After today's session, feel free to use it to contact me. What's on your handout is a very brief description of Tai Chi and just some good facts for you to know for those of you that really like to understand a little bit more about what you're engaging in this afternoon. Now, Tai Chi actually means ultimate energy, supreme fist, or moving meditation. Tai Chi is really the gentle form of like karate. But the one section we're going to really focus on today is called Qigong. Now, when you see it spelled, it's going to say QI and then GONG, but it is pronounced Qigong. Qi meaning energy. So it's energy harnessing and to work with. And I gave you a little bit of differences about Tai Chi and Qigong, but you want to know that all Tai Chi is Qigong, but it's so interesting that not all Qigong is Tai Chi. So you got to think of a deck of cards, and each card represents a Qigong exercise. And one can't, you could pull any card out of the deck, any Qigong move that will do. And you can move the orders around. So when the deck of cards is arranged in the original order, as they come out of the box, the sequence would represent Tai Chi in its original form. Today, though, I'm going to do 12 positions of Qigong. And for the sake of you maybe using it for yourself, or for you teaching the kids, maybe 1, 2, or 3 of them, maybe you want to use it as an intro to your large group, a transition, just a nice kind of transition filler that keeps the children moving. Because if it's one thing we know about young children, they want to move. I also put a lot of benefits of Tai Chi or Qigong in your handout. So as you're working with families and they're noticing things you're doing, you can have some of your own language to say, well, by us doing this activity, here are some concepts and skills that your child is gaining from it. I also added a few Illinois early learning and development benchmarks, but do know I might have just put the physical ones in there, but think about the social emotional benchmarks. Think about the math benchmarks with shape and movement and speed. So think about everything as we're doing it today and you see it, because I know there's more than just one domain out of the Illinois early learning benchmarks that you could choose from.
Goodbye,
Planning.
Erica.
Hi, Jessica. Thanks, Jessica. Okay, so I want to just mention too, there's a section I put in your handout that talks about music and sound. Traditionally, Tai Chi practice occurs outdoors, but there's no reason you cannot do some things indoors with the children. And the reason it's primarily done outdoors is because the natural sounds of the environment, the birds, the wind, enhance the relaxation experience, and water features and other sounds of nature. But the interesting thing, let's say you decide you're doing Tai Chi with the kids outdoors, or you're doing it and all of a sudden a big truck lumbers by. What's so interesting is if you're focusing on what you're doing, that truck, you don't even focus as much on that lumbering sound. And the same thing can happen in yoga. And then first, silence is a valid option to do the movements. Second, you could do recordings of natural sounds of water, or they have all kinds of natural recordings right now of insects and frogs and just melodies. And then third, some people do use non-traditional Tai Chi music. They may play some Asian classical music or some of the different East Indian sounds that also work very well if you're doing yoga. As long as you feel these sounds, and I notice some of you are in blended classrooms, that the sounds aren't too much sensory for the children. So you're the best judge of that, because you're the teacher assistants, the teachers, and so forth of the children. So you're going to know if it's just too much, what's too much. Okay. For some of you that also are working with children that might have sensory things, there are times when I've been working or noticing a child at rest time. For those of you that are doing PFAE, and they for the bless them, they just could not settle. So as a teacher coach, I have gotten permission from teachers to say, may I just have this child in the hallway with me a little bit? And I would do some either yoga or Tai Chi with them. And it just sort of settled them in so that they could get ready to be back on their cot. So those are just some words or thoughts and ideas. I do not want you to get hung up on doing Tai Chi moves accurately, or it's not that kind of science where you get hung up on that. It's more how you're moving in space to the best that you can with others and getting yourself in that meditative state. Tai Chi is different than yoga in the fact that yoga, a child is doing it on their mat or their space. And so that's their world. Tai Chi is more of a group effort, not that you're expecting everyone to engage with you, but what you're doing is you're all moving together at the same pace. Now, yourself as the teacher, assistant, or leader, you are the ones that'll set the pace. Today we'll probably be moving way faster than I would like, but when you're trying to implement some of this within your program, whatever type of program you have, feel free to go as slow as you want, okay? Because you're setting the pace. And like I said, you may find that you have to use some of this with individual children, just in a little space. Maybe they need just a little bit of your time just to settle. Now, we are going to, I put a lot of forms on your handout, but the one I'm mostly going to focus on today is at the very last of your page. I believe it's on the 4th page. The header says Qigong moves, and it's 12. It's 12 moves. That's what we're going to do today. And how that'll roll is we're going to do each one slowly. And then at the very end, we're going to combo them with, because you're adults, I'm going to add more numbers to them. Okay. So we'll be able to move through this slowly. You'll have a chance to do each one separately and then as more of a flow, per se, sort of. So the one thing I want to say to you is feel free to do this in your socks, as long as you're not on a slippery floor, barefoot, or for me right now, I have very, very lightweight, like summer, like slipper kind of shoes on, or summery shoes. Please do not do this with flip-flops on, okay? You don't want that wedge between your big toe and your second toe. In general, that's not really good for your feet anyway. So just an extra little health fact. So hopefully when we're done, you'll go away with some thoughts on how you can use this to help yourself and share with the children in your scope of your program. Now, I am at a disadvantage because I have to stand up, but I'm going to take a little peek at the chat. Okay, I like the natural sounds that work for my sped. Yes, that sounds good. Sandra. All right. Now, what I'd like you to do right now, I'm just going to take a few minutes to do this. Just think of one word right now, one word, okay? And I want you to think of the word, a feeling word of how you feel right now. Get that word in your head, but don't do anything with it just yet, okay? I'm going to step away and give you a pause to think of it, but don't do anything with it yet. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do, whoa, excuse me, I slipped a little bit. What I would like you to do is in the chat, all at the same time, type your word in the chat and let it flow. Content, anxious, heavy, relaxed, calm, tired, sleepy, happy, ooh, exhausted, ready, anxious. Okay, those are all great words. Great words. Great words. Okay, because at the very end, I'm going to ask you to again put a word in and we'll see if they've changed any. Content, tired. Okay. All right. So let me just take a little look at my floor. Okay. All right. So let's get started. How about you stand up? And hopefully you have me really big. Okay. And I might play around with some of the forms a little bit. So just to make you feel comfortable too, that you don't have to be perfect. You're learning. Okay? I'm learning every day. So now, and also the names that are for these, they're under, remember, Qigong, the 12 poses. It's the third page in your handout. Some of the poses, if you're in a public setting, you might not be able to call them what they're called. So I'll give you substitute words to use as well. And for right now, because I can't really look at the chat a lot, I'll make sure I save time near the end that we can have time for questions. If you see me reach over, I'm just making sure I'm keeping myself on task. And if I go this way, there might be an extra note or something I'd like to tell you. So everybody just take, we'll just do, this is more of a yoga thing, but we'll do it for you right now, just to get you, some of you that were anxious, just to release some stuff. So I want you to take a big inhale through your nose. Now, when you exhale, you're going to do a really loud exhale through your mouth. This is just a little anxiety releaser. Inhale, exhale. One more, inhale. My car person, if you're not driving, you could do this. Even my car person, if you were holding on a steering wheel, you could at least do it with your nose and mouth, and you'd still be safe. Okay, so welcome. Know it's okay to kind of enjoy yourself. And if you feel a little silly and need to laugh at yourself, know that it's okay. Tai Chi is joyful. Okay, it's not a punitive thing, it's joyful. All right. So the first thing, well, one thing I'm going to tell you too about Tai Chi breath. Try not to get hung up when you're doing it with the children and as you're learning an adult, because the Tai Chi breath really, it is your tongue touching the roof of your mouth act how you breathe. You inhale through the nose and exhale, but you don't have to get all hung up on that. Just use your natural breathing for right now and with the children, because yogic breathing, majority of the time we're inhaling through our nose and exhaling through our nose. But please do what feels comfortable for you right now. All right. So let's get started with gathering the chi and syncing the chi. So I'd like you to have your arms are out to your side, and we're going to inhale and circle up. And our fingertips almost touch, but they don't touch all the way. And then we'll exhale and lower our hands towards our belly button or navel. I'm going really slow right now, but I'll go a little faster for you. But that's, you're syncing the chi, means we're putting energy into our body. But as slow as I went, that's how slow you might want to go. So here we go. We're inhaling. Our fingertips aren't touching, and we begin to exhale. We just brought energy into our body. Let's just do it one more time. Inhale up. And then we're sinking the energy into us. There we go. Just brought the chi, the energy to you. So now we'll do support heaven like a pillar, but you don't have to call it heaven. You could call it the skies. Now, I just want to ask one question. When my dog just barked, could you hear that my dog? Oh, beautiful. Okay, excellent. Okay. They like to get in on the action, unfortunately. So here we go. We're going to support heaven like two pillars. So your hands are in front of your navel and your palms are up. And first we'll begin to raise to the heart level with our inhale. As we move upward, we always are inhaling. As we move downward, we're exhaling. So here we go. We're moving the pillars up to the sky. And at the top, we separate our arms and come back down. Okay. Now, if anybody's studying Tai Chi now, it depends on who you study with. You may see variations. Let's do supporting the sky like a pillar again. Here we are. We're at our navel. Palms are up. We're going up to our heart. We're separating our hands, pushing up. Here's our pillar. And we come down because we became the pillar. Okay, that's supporting heaven like a pillar. Now, opening the door. I just have some notes I want to remember to tell you. So, we're going to place our left hand on our right bicep, but we're keeping our shoulder down, okay? And again, because I may be being backwards to you, it's all right if you're not exactly left or right. Typically in Tai Chi, they always start with the left, but again, you're learning, so do what's best for you. So here we go. I want to go back again. We're opening and closing the door. I think I went ahead too fast, but we'll do this one. This is one way, and then I'm going to show you another way too with your legs. And then switch, and there, and come back, and switch, and there. Now let me show you a fun way to do it with your legs too. Just have your hands, and this will become very knowledgeable to you later. I know it seems weird when I'm doing this, but my wrists are like this, and they're really loose. And I'm going to bend my knees a little bit. So I'm coming up, and I'm going to open the door with my legs now. So I'm going to lift my left leg and then go wide. This will also be doing this with the horse. And then come up again, and let's open the right door. Lift the right leg and go down. There we go. Okay. So that was the open and close the door. That's where I apologize on the one. I flip-flopped on my notes. This is also crane, but there's also an easier crane too. So with the easier crane, put your hands on your shoulders. And now it's so interesting because in some Tai Chi poses, they will start with the right. And this happens to be one of them. Here's your cranes. And the crane is flying to the right. So lift your hand off and then point up towards the ceiling, almost where the ceiling and the wall meet. Crane flies away, and now it comes back, and now it flies away again. All right, there you go. Beat the drum. I do like this one. This is if we were to be in China, in a park, this is how they might start a Tai Chi movement. We keep our hips forward. Make sure you have lots of space around you so you don't hurt your hands or wrists on something, okay? And your hips are going to be forward, and all you're going to do is just swing your arms. And you could just swing them like this, or you can actually swing them where the arm in front changes over each shoulder, okay? And then let's go back to straightening our arms. They might like wrap around our waist. And then let's go back up to where they're touching opposite shoulders. And you can really swing, all of you, if you want. I'm being a little bit more gingerly about it because I have these walls here. But that's a really great pose because it stimulates the nervous system and helps with some things with sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. So it's a really nice way to get the body, settling in and going. Again, they use that for especially one of my master teachers told me when he was in China, that's how he knew to join a Tai Chi group, is because somebody was just getting started. And that's an invitation like, hey, do you want to do this with me? So if anyone has been to China or has experienced that near the end, when we have question times, I'd love to know that. All right. So this one, it can be really enjoyable, but it's rooster punches slowly. So our arms come up. So I'm kind of like this, and there you go. I'm doing a side view for you. All right. So here it goes. Tai Chi, so we know how to count down, or I know how to count. All right, so we were at rooster punches slowly. So remember your arms were like so. And I'm going to pull my left hand in and lift up my left knee. And then let's just do this to start off. So I'll give it to you from a side view. And now I'm switching and slowly lifting up the other. There we go. There we go. But now I'll do it from a front view, and then we're going to add more excitement to it if you would like. So here I am, nice and slow. And then once you're here, you can kick and extend. You're seeing the bottom of my soft shoe and back. And then up. See how balance plays in this? And with your children that might, remember there's always modifications and all kinds of movement. Maybe they're just using their arms. Maybe they're just using their legs. Maybe they're doing it seated from a wheelchair. Maybe they're lifting their knees up slowly, using their walker. There's lots of adjustments that can be made. There. That was rooster punches slowly. So next we have bow and arrow with well, and I'm going to add the legs because you can also do bow and arrow without the legs. Meaning what I mean by you have to be standing on your legs. So that was kind of silly for me to say. But what I mean by the legs is you don't have to lift up and balance. You could keep your legs steady and maybe just do your bow and arrow. We're going to the left, both your arms, and then you're pulling back on your bow. Now, I'm just doing it with the arms in case you guys would like that modification, okay? And then coming back and doing the other side. Now, when you lift your leg, there's a little bit more of an added back to it. All right, let's try it with the leg. We're going to the left. We're lifting up and pulling back our bow, dropping the foot, and we'll come around to the other side. I've adjusted this a little bit for children. So here we go. We're pulling back the bow, lifting up our knee, and coming down. And I'm just adding a half circle in it just for you to use. I'm adjusting a little bit here. And pull up the knee and bring it slow down and around and pulling back and down and around. And you could always then also put in things like bringing more energy back in. Chi. This is my third time teaching this with ECPL. So each time I like to tweak in maybe other modifications and things that you can do. All right. So ragdoll or ride the horse. This one will feel really odd to you, but let your body go with it. And we know young children, they're kind of like, they're ready for the movement adventure. Remember how I told you earlier, your hands are just going to be kind of swingy? And you won't even have to do anything. It's going to be pretty amazing when you see how your hands are just going to go. Now, my knees are slightly bent, like I'm almost sitting on a horse. All right. And some of you might be too young to really know like what a ragdoll is, but their ragdolls are very flappy. So that's why it's called ragdoll or riding a horse. So my knees are bent. Here I am. And what we're going to do is you're only going to lift up your heels and really quickly, okay? And let your hands just do what they're going to do. And it's pretty amazing. You might hear me really pounding on the floor, so hopefully that won't be too irritating. Now, I'm not consciously moving my hands. They're going with my heel movement. If you also notice that you didn't have to move your hands, will you give me a thumbs up with your real hand or a reaction? Okay. See how loose that, yeah. So that's rag down or ride the horse. When we do it all together, you will be so excited because we're going to do that 12 times. You might be feeling a little sweaty depending on where you're doing your movement at. I feel a little sweaty right now, but it just depends where you're moving at. If you're outside, you might be getting a good breeze. All right, so this is separating, it says separating heaven and earth, but feel free to call it separating sky and earth, okay? If you need to change the terminology. So really it's just right arm is low, left arm goes high. All right, and your knees can bend with it. There we go. Separating earth from sky. One arm represents earth and one represents sky. Take your time and do know you're not, please give yourself grace and don't think that, oh, I'm not doing it correctly. Just the fact that you're focusing and moving calmly is good. And I know it feels weird because you typically, when you're oppositionally moving your arms, you feel you might, it's a little, the quicker movement makes you feel a little bit more like grounded. This, because we're moving slower. Let me show you this one too that we could combo in here. This is called Reaching for the Stars. You might even like this one better to first start using with children because you can use both arms at once. So my feet are close together and my knees are close together. So I'm going to squat down a little bit. My hands come down and I reach up and focus over the right shoulder. And I come down and I focus over the left shoulder, called Reaching for the Stars. Reaching for the stars. There we go. Okay. Next, we have double breath. They call it pearl ball, or you could probably do something like this with your kids, and you may have a different name for it, like balloon or things of that sort. But all you do is you have one of your hands on top, one on the bottom. You're like a ball shape. Okay. So here we go. We're going to inhale twice and exhale once. And then switch which hand goes on top. And remember, I'm adding different, if you were with me last year, I might be adding some new things to it. So here we go. Inhale twice. Exhale. And switch it up. Now let me go super slow so I can show you how slow you could go if you want. And if you can, you could around this whole navel or core area. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, there you go. All right. Now this is an interesting massage that it's an auricular massage. I could probably pronounce that word better. But take your right arm and put it way tall to the sky. Reach it over your head. And I want you to massage your outer ear. And you're probably like looking at me like, oh gosh, Tammy, this isn't Tai Chi. Well, it is, yes, in Qigong. All right. And then bring it down. And here too, we could do gathering chi. Inhale up, bring more energy. All right, let's do the other side. Left arm, bring it around and massage your ear. Now, what'll be interesting in the whole lobe and everything, and then come down. Let's give ourselves more energy. Inhale. Remember, we're not touching the fingers at the top. Exhale. And you can go super slow, as slow as you want. The thing about not touching the fingers is knowing that there's good chi and energy between your fingers. And before we do the last one, Ming Mong simulation on your low back, I want everybody to go like this with their hands. Create friction. And I just want to see if you notice it or don't notice it. Just depends. Now, sometimes people can go like this and feel the energy, like a magnetism between their hands. Or sometimes if you just go like up and down. For me, I feel it most when I go this way, like up and down. But I'll go out again. Ooh, I really felt it there. Wow. The like pull, it's like a gravitational pull. If you felt that, could you just give me a thumbs up with your finger? Okay. Yeah, it's a neat thing to do. And you could even do it with the children because to show them like the energy, and there's energy everywhere. Even their own body is full of energy. So the last one before we kind of do everything together is Ming Mong's simulation. And with the kids, you'd want them to be really gentle. They might put their fists in their back, but really gentle. And if you're nervous, have them do their fingers. And they just kind of massage in their low back. But with the kids, feel free to just have them do little finger touches. If you're worried about because it could be their lumbar spine. But that just to get them in the feeling of like their spine has 3 sections. And this part's a really important one for backaches and things. And then if you're doing yoga with children, you kind of prep them for how they might do this and push back and maybe do a little camel, for future, in another section where you might be doing yoga. Now, what's going to happen here is I'm going to take everything we just did and we're just going to flow with it. But I'm going to have you do it a certain amount of times as well. All right. Something you might just do once. Other things you might do 6 to 12 times. And this is for you as adults. I certainly don't have that expectation that you would be doing that with children unless they were going for it with you. Now, I want to take a quick pause here because I want you to get something to drink if you feel a bit thirsty. Hopefully it's water would be a great thing. And then I'm just going to peek in the chat to see if there's any way that I could help you if I miss something. So get that nice, do that nice thing for yourself. Okay. Thank you for all these thumbs up for answering questions. Yeah, that lower back massage always feels great. All right, good. Okay, very good. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything with any of you. Beautiful. So let's see, we're doing really great on time, and that with really great on time, which means I can also show you maybe two more things that you could add however you wanted. So let's start from the beginning. And I'm going to try to go super slow, but we are doing very well. All right, so let's go ahead and gather our chi. Inhale. Remember not to touch fingers. Exhale down. I might not speak as much right now. Here you go. Bringing that chi into us. All right, now we're going to support the sky like a pillar. So we're switching our arms up. We're at the navel, going to heart center, pushing our palms up, the strength of our arms to push that pillar up and coming down. Then our hands come up, just relaxing rather loosely, our knees bend. Inhale and lift up with the left knee. Exhale out and open the left door. Now we're going to inhale, get your balance secure, and we're going to lift with the right knee and open the right door. And we'll bring ourselves up. Close your door. Close your door. We're going to open and close the door again. Here we are. Inhale, lift up left knee. Open the left door. Come back up. Open the right door. Arms are here. Inhale, lift up the left. We're closing the door. Inhale up, lift the right. We're closing the door. We close the door. And now we get to beat the drum. So I want you to pick your favorite way to beat the drum, either straight arm or bent arms, where you're touching either shoulder. You could do straight arm or bent arm. Now, I just want to show something. If from the back view, if you're bending your arms, this arm could go back here like that. My front arm is at the shoulder. Okay. Rooster punches slowly, and we're going to do 12 of these. So that means 6 on each side. So here we go. Mini light fist. You don't have to crush your fist. Pull the left arm and lift the left leg. Maybe some of you just want to stay in the knee or extend out. Come down, switch arms. This is number 2. We're going to be doing 12 because we're grown folks. And remember, you can go way slower than I am going right now. You could go way slower. And I know I'm making my voice go with the slowness of the movement. Now, do know if we were in Tai Chi, no one would be talking, grown up Tai Chi. For the children, I certainly know they're going to need your guidance and assistance. You can go as slow as you want. If you're like Tammy, I sure would like to go slower than you. Then please, please do. Some of you might have felt that in your hamstrings, that nice big muscle back here. Because I just did some hamstring stuff and I still felt it. Let's go ahead and take a moment to gather more chi. Inhale. Bring that energy back to you. Now I'm going to go ahead and do bow and arrow with legs. Here we go. Lifting my left leg. Ball mound down and then I'm going to come up and go the other way. Lifting right knee and down and come around. We're still going to do 4 more. Lift up the left knee. Come down and around. Lift the right knee. Pull back your arrow. Come down and around. Lift the left. Pull it down. Come around. 1 more. Remember, I know I keep, wrong leg for me. I keep mentioning the speed. I just want you all to feel comfortable. You could go slower than how we're approaching it today. All right, everybody ready to ride their horse or do ragdoll? Bend your knees. We're going to be doing this 12 times. All right, and just let your hands be free. Here we go. 1, 2, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. Separating heaven and earth, or sky and earth. Bend knees. Remember, it's just separate, one arm's towards the earth, one arm's towards the sky. Some of you may be feeling this in your quadricep muscle too, which is that top muscle on the front of your top leg. Now remember, I threw an addition of reaching for the stars. So both your hands are at your side. Bend your knees and down, and we'll reach to the right. And down, and we'll reach to the left. And I'll slow it up. Exhale. And inhale, reach to the right. Exhale. And reach to the left. Exhale. Inhale, reach to the right. Exhale. Reach to Elbow and okay. Some of you might, maybe not today, but tomorrow, you'll feel it in your lats and your sides and your rib cage. Okay, so double breath ball. Get your ball ready. Round your navel, like your heart center navel. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Down, left arm up, reach around your head and massage out that ear. And switch and massage out the other ear. And down. And then I'll turn to face you. Feel free. Some of you are going to want a deeper massage, so you can use your fists if you want. Thumbs tucked in and just doing that. But again, I mentioned with the children, you might, with them, just do fingertips. Just massage a little bit. There we go. And we'll go ahead just for the ender for this. Let's go ahead and sync the chi again. Now, what we did in an altered, maybe modified way is we did a Qigong 12 form, a Qigong 12 form. Do know you could take, this is all written in your handout, and you could take any one of these pieces of the form, and maybe with the children, you're just doing gathering the energy. And if you want to let them know that she is called energy, feel free to do that. But maybe you just want to focus for a week or two or whatever you need just on them doing the energy. Like, for example, let's say you're at a large group, and we know hopefully your large groups aren't very lengthy, but maybe you just need them to have energy gathered as you read the book. You want to start a story. So you might say, kids, let's gather our energy so that we can focus on the story I'm going to read. And maybe you want to do that 2 or 3 times really slow, because that's going to help them like focus and then concentrate to how you want to get to maybe that story or that game. I'm trying to give you practical ways by which you might want to use some of this. Now, we still have time. It's 5:03. And I just want to thank all of you for being really kind and showing grace when I had my mystical, magical moment there with electricity. So thank you for having grace on that. And it still gave us enough time that I'd like to show you lantern and snake. and walking crane. Okay. I think I might have those on your handout too, near the end as extras. But for snake, lantern and snake, you could either tell the kids, let's get to our horse. So their knees are bent, and maybe you want to do a few horse things. And remember, you could call this horse a rag doll. But what we'll do first is I'll show you it in small components because our knees are bent and we're kind of like in a mini squatty position. But you'll have a snake and a lantern. So let's first do lantern. So lantern is just you extending your left arm out, and my hand looks like this. Okay, so my arm is extended out, and I'm bringing the lantern across my body so that when I get to the right side, I lower my left arm and lift up my right. That's the lantern. So this is the first piece. And see, now my left arm comes up. My lantern comes all the way across my body. And I bring it down. And here comes my right lantern across my body. So that's the first part, okay? That's your lantern. Now I'm going to show you snake, because eventually the lantern is going to lead the snake, all right? So here's your snake, and we're still in our mini squat. So here's my right hand snake, and all I'm doing with my snake is I'm gliding it along my tummy or across my belly button or navel, and I'm bringing it out that way and down so that my snake from the left can come across my body and around. So the snake is staying around my belly button. Here it comes from the right. And it drops down, but then the left snake comes and around. All right. So let's try lantern leading snake. All right. Back in our semi squat. Your legs are probably getting a nice little workout for you today. So get your left lantern ready. Here comes my right snake coming around. The lantern is leading my snake. So when we're at this side, we switch hands. So it's a right lantern, and here comes the left snake. And we're switching. And here comes the snake. And the top hand is always just a little bit ahead of the snake, because the lantern is leading the snake. Nice, fun little mixture of some arm movement there, okay? And we still have time for walking crane. So, right before walking crane, I'd like to do this with you because you could use this as pretending the kids are painting, like their hands are a big brush. Here's the stick of like their brush at the easel, and their hand is the actual brush. So You could say, children, we've got a big wall in front of us. What color do you want to paint it? And then here's their brushes going up the wall. And then they flip their hands, and here it goes down the wall and up. This one doesn't necessarily have like a really exotic name in Tai Chi. So when I use it with the kids, and even when I use it with the adults sometimes, I use the visualization of painting a wall, because you get that sensation of like your arms are the brushes, your hands are the brushes, and your arm is that wooden holder by which you're controlling the brush. There we go. So that's a neat kind of one to do. And you could do all kinds of visualizations with it. You can also be really tricky and go opposite hands too. Gets them thinking, oh, wow, my body moves in a lot of ways. I would just like to reflect on the lantern and snake. Did you notice how you were doing some mid-body work? Okay. Really, that midsection for children and adults is really important to have movements there to help work the sides of the brain. All right, so let's do walking crane. Let's first just do the arm. All right, we're doing good on time, so I'm not worried. I still have time to answer questions and such. So here's your crane, magnificent wings. And we'll inhale and come up slowly. Crane wings. Now they come down. Let's do that again. Remember, I haven't focused a ton on the breathing. If this was just only for adults, I probably would. But because I know you want to utilize this with children, I'd rather they have a sense of the movement instead of worrying how they're breathing at this time during Tai Chi. Okay, so those are the arms. Now the legs, I'll do a side view. This is my right side. So, and this will remind you of Karate Kid too, the movie Karate Kid. And inhale with your knee. Your right knee is up and your crane wings are up. Now what will happen is you're going to drop, slowly bring your foot to the ground on the ball mound of your feet and lower your arms. The ball mound of your foot is this, I have my sock on. It's this nice kind of bigger bone here right under your big toe. So you kind of first go on the ball mound of your foot, then bring the whole foot down. And that's just a technical thing I'm sharing for you guys as adults. What I'm going to do now, though, in the walking crane is I'm going to walk forward to you, and I hope you will walk forward to me. Just be careful. And I know some of you might be working on balancing. Balancing is really important at all of our ages. Here we go. Inhale up, right knee. Exhale down. Here we go. And as our wings come down and they come up, now we lift the other knee and come down. Now, since you're grown-ups and you can decide, especially if you have fives going to kindergarten, do you want them to do it backwards? So inhale up. Here comes that left knee again. And it goes behind us and down. And inhale the right that goes behind us and down. Okay. So as a teacher, teacher's assistant, whatever role you have, is to use, you could just use the arms if you want. And then you could add the legs later or whenever you would like. Same thing goes if we're reflecting back on snake and lantern. Maybe it's just lantern for a while, then you add the snake. If an administrator happens to be on right now, and this will come up too, there's an admin conference, and Maggie Gale and I will be doing something there. But this kind of stuff is kind of nice, even if we just want to bring energy in nice and slow. It's kind of nice to do at the beginning of a staff meeting or something to get everybody just in a good state of well-being and just settling and pausing from your active days. So it's 5:15. I'm going to bring myself down here. I'm going to take a look at the chat. And then I still have an interesting thing with the word that I would like you to do. And I know Karen may have a few items or things she'd like to say to you. But let's go look in the chat and see. Okay, for the crane, the arms don't go over the head, right? Correct, Kayla. And hopefully I'm saying Kayla correctly. Yeah, Kayla, they don't have to go over they don't have to go way over the head. They can stay at like shoulder height. Okay. And I'm glad I'm saying your name correct. And thank you to Sandra for also conveying crossing the midline. Okay, I'm so glad Christy really loves the paintbrush one. And Christy, you are so right. The lantern snake one is a tricky one. It's even tricky for me, at times, depending on how my day went. Mercury is in retrograde. That sounds like an important thing for me to know, Jamie. Of course, totally understandable. Okay. My daughter was flipping out before this and started moving her arms to follow, and she is now quietly playing. Jamie, thank you for sharing that. I like the straight arm better. Okay, Jamie figured something out I remember this is where I left off, but I'm just going to double check. Okay, very good. Great for balance. Absolutely. So regulating for both adults and children. Yes. Yes. Now, before I ask you to do the next thing, were there any other questions? And I don't mind if you have to get off mic to ask it. I just want to comment, Nancy, I'm so glad you're outside. Woo woo, Nancy, applause. Enjoy this great workout. Thank you. Thank you, M. Dixon. It's good for you too. That's why it's so wonderful that you work with young children. Now, the one person that said something about pictures, you know what? I think next time, if I do this like online again, I might have somebody in my adult classes, because I did this during COVID, because I have another training called Taking Care of You, which just shows you exercises that you could easily do throughout the day for you. But I had them take pictures of me, and I think I am going to do that and like put it into a like a PowerPoint when I do this. Yes, Rachel, I love what Rachel said. So make sure to look. It can be done with each student and be changed in way best for them. This would be great during testing weeks. Yes, Lamont. Definitely could see how Yes. Yeah. Great idea for pics, Dominique. Okay. Now, um, it's about 5:19-ish. What I'd like you to do, remember the beginning that some of you had a different word? And I want you to think now, some of you at the beginning had content, you had anxious, you had happy, tired, things of that sort. Think of your word, but don't type it in the chat yet, but think of your word. Think of your word. All right, get that one feeling word down. And now everybody pour it into the chat. Relaxed, calm, motivated, tired, calm, tired, calm, relaxed, flowing, more relaxed, calm, chill, still tired. That's okay, because I'm hoping, Tasanka, that this is going to have you have a good night's rest. Ooh, Soné is an energized, if I said her name correctly. Great. I expected that some of these words would still come up, because for some of you, this is going to be a great chill down to then tonight when you need to settle and rest, you'll be able to do it. Less tight, definitely. Rejuvenate. Okay. It gradually got better. This was great after work day. Yes. I think that's why Karen is so strategic in how she plans it. Yes, it gets better the more you do. You know, and we're all lifelong learners. I'm a lifelong learner every day. Okay. Now, Karen, I'll be quiet for a moment in case there's any kind of last minute things you need to say. Practice gets better. Yes. But it probably taught some of you that you have to loosen up those tight muscles. Okay. I'll hang on a minute in case anybody else has any questions.